Welcome to the Quantum Leap podcast. I am really excited to be bringing you the latest interview with a member of the cast of the new series, Dan Estrate. Welcome to the show, Dan.
It's great to be here.
Dan plays a key role in the scene in the first episode. He plays Horace, who is the dealer with the fake Hope Diamond. You'll all have just seen that, so I'm sure you'll remember that. And he also ends up becoming effectively the first bad guy in the series that Ben is going to use his knowledge of the future against. So I'm sure that's something that's going to be coming up more throughout the show. But you'll be the first. So I thought we'd start by just talking a bit generally. If you can maybe tell me about your early life. I know you were born in Romania. What took you from Romania to the US?
That's correct. I was born in Romania, and I was born in Transylvania. So you can imagine all the jokes and references to Dracula and so on, and that comes up a lot, and it's great. But I was born in Romania.
I'll try and resist. I imagine you've heard them all before.
It's very tempting, especially because right now I'm doing a show, and it's actually Dracula. But anyway. I was born in Romania during communism, and I grew up in the darkest time of communism in the late 80s. So after that, the borders opened, and I started to travel, and I was going to the University of Theatre and Film in Bucharest, and we started to actually tour in all these festivals, and I ended up touring in US in 1998. I had a kind of a relationship with a university in Richmond, Virginia, and they invited me to teach, and that's how I ended up on the East Coast. And then I started to do theater and ended up working in Washington D.C. actually. And then I always wanted to. I kind of had it in the back of my mind to move to Los Angeles and be in, films and TV. And, fast forward 20 years later, here I am.
Fantastic. And it's not, I understand, you obviously mentioned the kind of the theatre and the drama element. I understand you've got quite a passion for dancing and quite a history there as well.
Yes, I mean, I kind of fell into movement and dance as well. I don't call myself a dancer because I don't want to insult real dancers, but I can definitely move, and I've done a lot of movement theater, and I kind of approach any role a little bit from a physical standpoint, even if it's very static scene or if it's a very psychological, realistic scene. I still think about the way you move and the way you carry yourself, and little subtle things. They're always there in the back of my mind, and I find it very actually helpful. Doing very highly stylized theater helps me in when I'm in front of the camera, because it gives me an amazing inner freedom. I mean, you cannot ask me anything that I would say, oh, why would I do that? Or how do I motivate that on screen? No, I'm already, I've done things that seem so out of ordinary or so abstract, but I have to find a justification. So when I do that and then I'm in front of the camera, I'm ready to go in any direction, So I'm available, so to speak. Very quick.
Yeah, I was wondering about that, because one thing I noticed, you're obviously only in the one scene in Quantum Leap, so you don't have much of a chance to build up a character. Right. But you are there on screen right away, and we have to know exactly who you are. So some of that came from that kind of physical background, did it? That you were able to just pull from that?
It's funny you say that, because I don't. The first line is in Romanian, and they let me say that in Romanian, right. And I felt right at home right away. So I felt very free, and it was actually, I know it sounds like a cliche, but it was so much fun to do that scene, because it came naturally, even though he's such a unscrupulous guy, and I would like to think that he's completely at the opposite of the human spectrum than myself. but I felt very, very comfortable with that character right away. It was very it was very fun to even like be in that world of like 1980s Philadelphia, US. I mean, it was a true film experience in the best sense of the word to be dropped, so to speak, in that world, because they created this beautiful world. It's like you are in all. It almost felt like I was in like a virtual reality game when I was on the set. It was so amazing, and the show is about that. It's about transitioning from one layer of reality into another layer of reality in a second. And so it was just a pleasurable experience, very satisfying as an actor.
Yeah, I can imagine. I noticed a lot of the background detail and everything. They really seem to be putting a lot of effort into the production values.
It was amazing.
I was wondering, as you mentioned that you got to say the first line in Romanian, was that a part of the casting process? Were they specifically looking for a Romanian natural, or was that just luck that you showed up and said, "Look, I'll translate this for you"?
I hope it was luck for them, meaning that I hope they liked the fact that they made that choice, because the character was written as a Eastern European / European. I think it was Russian, German, right? And then when I auditioned, I said I speak
quite
fluent Romanian, and then we went, okay, let's make him Romanian. So I made this like background story because his name is Horace, and I think his name initially was Horace Johnson. I think his name was Horatiu Ionescu, and he changed his name when he moved to US. You know what I mean? That's kind of like my background of the character.
Mm-hmm.
And so then, we made him Romanian, and this jeweler and jewelry forger, and I know characters like that. I as I said, I went to school in Bucharest for 7 years, and I've met people like that. It was very easy to bring him to life.
I think that showed. You brought him to life very well. You talked a little bit about the atmosphere on the set. Could I ask you some more about that? Because it was mostly a guest-led scene. I know Addison and Ben, the two leads, were there as well, but there was a lot of guest stars around there. Was that early on in the shoot? Were they still getting to know each other, or were you walking into something that was quite well established?
I felt like the leads knew each other pretty well. They were very, very comfortable, but they were very welcoming. And it was really, for the short time I was on the set, a very collaborative atmosphere, because the main character, he has that line in Romanian. So when he shows me that he can speak Romanian, and my character is surprised, I was working with him on his Romanian, and it was very free flow, and everybody was very relaxed. And I felt, as I said, I felt right at home, and it was almost like I was living this childhood fantasy when I was dreaming about, how would it be, or I was imagining how would it be to do a Hollywood film, and being on the lot at Universal with these huge sets and a lot of extras, and this very different world, like 1980s in Philadelphia. It was, they practically had a whole block, built. It was amazing. It felt so good and kind of trippy, because we would go from the trailer, from waiting area. They would call us on the set to shoot the scene, and I would cross the street to my store, to my jewelry store, and I would see all these people. Like, it was a different reality, literally. It was beautiful. It was so so satisfying for an actor. In a way, they made it very easy. It's like, it's so easy to just, all this was built practically for you. Now just live in that world. So you just have to use your imagination quick and you're there. And I can very easily dream. Like I can very easily allow myself to be in this dream world, because that's kind of how it felt for me, Dan. It felt like I'm in a dream.
That's fascinating. You can never tell, especially with the production values these days, if it's just they'd set up the jewelry store and then put blue screens up outside and were faking everything. But
no,
to know that you actually were basically just walking in out of a backlot street, that must have been magical, I suppose.
It really was, because it was no green screen, nothing. It was you very easily you could believe that you are in Philadelphia in the 80s. So it was nice.
Do you have, before we go on to maybe some other talk about other work that you're doing, do you have any particular memories about the work that day that I've maybe not pulled out from you yet?
I only have I have a good general feeling about that whole experience, and the luxury in film, working in film, of doing several takes, because I'm doing theater right now. I'm on stage, like tonight in a few hours I have to be on stage at 8:00, and it's very high pressure, and everybody, every actor, they know what I'm talking about. Whereas on the set I'm so relaxed, because even, okay, we're not going to get it, but we're going to get in the second, the third, the fourth take, whatever. And you have the freedom to, in the moment, to try different things. And I felt so comfortable. The director, producer, whoever was there, it was fun. I mean, I know I actually don't like to use that word a lot, because I take it very seriously, sometimes too seriously. But it felt fun. It was very relaxed, and we were looking for new meanings, new takes on the scene, right? But it was. I have a very, very good feeling. That's the main memory that I have from that shoot.
Yeah.
So
I'll just stay on that for one more moment,
yes.
Then, because you mentioned that you got the chance to try different takes. Have you actually seen the finished production of that scene? Have you seen your performance?
I have not.
And what they ended up?
I have not, and it's not because I don't want to see it. I have not seen it yet, and I can't wait to see it, actually.
I think they're editing quite close to the wire, so I mean, we're recording this a few days before the air date, and I think it's only just come together for the press releases. So hopefully you'll get to see that next week, and you'll be happy with the takes that they chose.
I'm looking forward to it, and I've talked to a lot of friends, and a lot of people are very interested in this show, and a lot of people are like huge fans of the show, and I didn't realize that until I did this.
There's a lot riding on it, I think, for a lot of people, and this is why I mentioned at the start in the introduction that I'm sure it will be a common theme that Ben is able to use his future knowledge to kind of get one over on some of the other characters. So that the look on your face, just as he started talking about your accounts in the Cayman Islands, thinking that's other characters are going to be doing that throughout the show, and you're in that position where you're setting that scene. So let's talk a bit more generally, because you mentioned that you're in the theatre at the moment. So can you tell me a bit more about what you're doing tonight and any other projects you've got going on? Where can we find you?
Yes, I took a break to go back in the shop, so to speak. I'm going back to doing theatre. I'm doing 2 shows in Washington, D.C. with a company called Synetic Theatre. And they're mainly a movement-based theatre company. But we're doing two shows. One is called Host and Guest, based on a epic Georgian poem written by one of their like national poets of Republic of Georgia. His name is Vaja Pshavela, and it's a story about religious and tribal conflict. Very unfortunately, very relevant to what's going on in Ukraine and in other parts of the world today. So that's a very heavy subject to play, but poetically beautiful and done in a very highly stylized manner. And we just opened that this week. And then the next show is going to be actually Dracula, and I'm playing Dracula with the same theater company. Yes, and
amazing.
It's a remount, and we want to make it even more, more spectacular and sexier and creepier, and it's going to be very entertaining. So that's what I'm doing, and it's a very highly physically demanding way of working on stage. That's what I was mentioning earlier. You go through this; it's almost like almost like a circus experience. Like it's a high emotions and very very intricate choreography, and it's very demanding. But I need that in my life. As an actor. So that's why I'm doing that. And then I'm going to go back to LA in November, kind of recharged.
Right. So, I mean, we have listeners everywhere, and I'm sure with the new interest in the show, that will only increase. So how can Washington locals get tickets for this?
It's very easy. If you go to synetictheatre.org, that's SYNETIC theatre.org.
Fabulous. All right, thank you. Well,
and I highly recommend it. I highly recommend. It's a very original storytelling. Yeah,
it sounds like both your current and your upcoming project both sound really great. I wish I was a little bit closer. Sadly, it's quite a long flight for me.
Yeah.
But I wish you all the luck with that.
Thank you very much.
Do you have anything specific? Do you have anything specific coming up in November? You said you're going back to LA.
I'm going back to LA. I am working on a mini TV series based on a French play. The project is called The Journey. I shot the pilot. We're going to shoot 9 more episodes. Mini episodes of like 10 to 15 minutes.
All right.
Yeah, it's a very interesting format. It's a play that lends itself to that format. And each episode will be like a small art film that stands on its own. But when you put them together, they make sense together. So I'm producing, I'm directing, and I'm in it. That's my
great combination,
my baby right now. And other than that, of course, I keep on auditioning for other projects and similar to Quantum Leap. And I'm very excited about seeing the show, and I know it's going to be very successful.
Yeah, I think we're all feeling very positive about it on the show here as well. So yeah, it's great.
I mean, based on the feeling that I had, I go on a gut instinct here.
Yeah. Yeah, I think there's a lot going into the show, and everything you've just shared has only made me feel more positive about it as well.
Yes.
And as I say, by the time anyone sees this interview, the first episode will be out, and I'm sure a lot of people will be feeling the same way. So, yeah.
Let's hope so.
Great. Now, I got a chance earlier on to watch a movie of yours from a few years back, from 2017, called Her Tango, which you produced, directed, and starred in. Her tango is great, and
thank you.
You said you're not a dancer. I was going to correct you on that. You are a dancer. Her tango was just your moves were lovely.
Thank you very much. I tried to show the inner world more with that. I mean, it was a very very daring project, but I've done it with no money practically, and it was just pure passion. And it was one of those things I'm proud of, but it was more of a learning experience. I'll do more because tango is a thing I love, and I've gotten much better.
Oh really?
Oh yeah.
No,
now
it showed.
Actually, now I can dance Argentinian tango. At the time, I was just learning it, and anyway, it was more passion than anything.
I'm no experts. I couldn't tell from your moves, but you look confident.
Thank you very much.
Everyone looked like they were feeling it. So
thank you.
Yeah, I'm gonna make my partner sit down and watch it with me this weekend. I just watched it in prep for this, but I really enjoyed the film. So
I really appreciate.
I'm glad to hear you're doing more producing and directing.
I am, and this is a beautiful project that I'm doing right now, and hopefully maybe we'll talk about that at some point. Who knows?
Yeah, you're always welcome to come back. And
I mean, it's Quantum Leap
podcast.
Forget it.
No, hey, it doesn't matter. You've been in Quantum Leap now. That's it. You're part of it. You're not getting away from that ever.
No,
You'll do
true,
conventions.
and I'm very happy what you mentioned. I really like, because I'm like the first bad guy, and I like that, and that's cool. If people identify me with that, that's I'll take that. I'll run with that. That's nice.
Yeah. Let's say that everyone else in the show will be doing that thing of the face falling, as Ben says, hey, I know this about you and I know that. Everyone will be doing that. You did it first.
Yeah. Amazing.
So, thank you so much for your time, Dan. We really appreciate you coming on the show.
It's been such a pleasure. Thank you very much for having me.
I've been Matt Dale for the Quantum Leap Podcast. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel or follow us at quantumleappodcast.com to get more exclusive features and interviews. And check out quantumleapinfo.net for the latest news on the show.